like to see us move forward with, getting the $2 million worth of insurance upon a claim with Baywalk for damages. Also, I'd like to see, on this County Road 346, road crossings that were made without permits. I would like to move forward on finding the companies a penalty fee of $5,000 a piece plus the permit fees for cutting our road and crossing it without getting a permit prior to crossing our road.
Anybody else have any questions? We need,
I do have emails from Baywalk where they were offering to give me the gravel too, if anybody would like to see where they did say they were gonna give Fisher County the material that I got charged for.
whether the court would go out back to do.
I'll make a motion for Michael to check into that, but he also needs those emails on the who and what and where. And
I'd like to know the emails from Michael. He said that
It's
he
not-
had
It's not
sent,
Michael's,
he sent them to Baywalk, he said, and they said they denied fixing it. If we had them emails or ever who he talked to, that would resolve this whole issue.
My suggestion is either in written form or email, you email Michael on what you'd like to see happen, and then we'll have it. Michael's response.
Can I make a suggestion on that, Judge?
Yes.
With that, with what's going on, to bring transparency to the public on everything, with what we can bring transparent on, is, with the ongoing issue we'd like to resolve, so our court system would work better here, is to have Preston submit to Michael what he wants from Michael, and Michael submit back to the court what he's done in the process.
Agreed. That was my short story, that's what.
that was like a plan.
Got a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion.
All in favor? Unanimous vote. All right, discuss, take actions on pipeline crossing permits. Mr. Martin?
I think we sort of already covered that, but, we just have these companies, and it's not the only company, we've had many of them, they have cut our roads, they have not cased the pipelines, they have not notified us ahead of time, haven't given us a 48-hour notice. And, we need to sort of get to the bottom of it, try to start charging some penalties for these things, or it's gonna continue to happen. It's a whole lot cheaper for them just to come and cut the road than it is to actually go follow the process, and they don't wanna have to go through the time of putting vent pipes and a casing, or even having the commissioner out there watching them, cause then they'd have to do it to the right depth and everything. So they're trying to bypass the policy for their own benefit, but until we can get an attorney to try to move forward with it, nothing's gonna change.
What would you gentlemen like to see?
The biggest thing is, for these companies to be transparent with us, so any, road usage agreement, in my opinion, if a company's gonna do a road usage agreement, it definitely's gotta come through court, which it's supposed to begin with.
And they were supposed to, but they didn't.
So,
Also, it says that on the May first every year, we're supposed to certify, like on that road use agreement, and agree everything that they're complying with all the issues. We haven't been doing that.
but it also goes back to us checking our roads, and once we find it, then, we're gonna have to, actually ask these companies to come into the next court and address it in court while this is being done too, and we're gonna have to have more than he said, she said, we're gonna have to have evidence, pictures, and everything else of when all this was done to submit to our county attorney, to send in to try to get any of this.
You actually can shut them down if you catch them doing it without
Yeah.
permit. You can shut them down right there.
We're gonna have to quit.
It says discuss and take action on pipeline crossing permits, what would y'all like to do?
I'd like to move forward with, the applications not being,
Submitted outside of court.
So we need to get our county attorney to address them. I'm assuming
we
we
voted
will.
to have Castro do it, but I don't have much faith in our county attorney, 'cause he's already lied to me over and over, but.
Okay,
That's what.
this went back to a whole nother deal, keep it on business on hand. biggest, make a motion that all the contracts that are, to be approved have to run through court.
So a second.
I'll second, but we've already done that.
You know, we're supposed to already be all coming through.
All that shit.
We've got it set right
We
here.
gotta have something that comes back, cause all the motions in the world, until we approve that they've not done what they're supposed to do, does us no good.
No, we just need to, it needs to be moved forward on making them pay their fines. Is what it needs to be, that's what the other one before that was about, right? So then we don't need to do this one.
We've already presented the pictures, so that's the evidence right there. There's no, Joey doesn't have the permit, so that's the evidence there. What other evidence you need? You got the pictures and you look at the railroad commission who drove the well, so you got the person who did it. You know, that's all the evidence you need.
Alright, no action on that. Number 15, discuss and approve donation of mulch material from OBCID precinct 4.
The school tore up their, parking lot up here, and the, material that had spread out on that little dirt deal, they had, offered to let precinct 4 take the material, and was just needing a, approval for it.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
All in favor? Motion carries. Alright, approve application for Southland Road crossing permit for Endurance Resources, operation County Road 414, 450.
You aware of that, right?
Approve it.
What do you say?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Do I have a second?
Preston made a motion, I'll second it.
Alright, all in favor? Item 17, approve interlocal corporation agreement of housing of Lubbock County inmates. Mr. Wade, Sheriff Wade.
Your Honor, gentlemen, if you have any questions about that, I know we've had this on the agenda for a few months. We've kind of kicked it back and forth. What does it really cost to have an inmate over here in the jail? We came up with a number, we presented it to you guys a few times. If you have any questions on that agreement, we're ready to move forward. Here's what we need. We're gonna ask for 10 inmates to come down here from Lubbock. What is this interlocal agreement that we're doing? We're gonna get 10 inmates to start, up to a max of 20. I'm gonna stay at 10 right now. We'll bring them down here. They'll be in the jail. We're gonna put them through a period of observation and then turn them into trustees. And then we're gonna take them out in town. And we're gonna clean up around the courthouse, and we're gonna go to different areas in the districts, and we're gonna clean up. Now, before we jump too forward into doing that, I need to make sure that Fisher County has insurance and that I can do this with inmates out in town. I'll get with the judges and the lawyers, and we'll make sure that everything's good. But what I anticipate is next month coming to you and saying, hey, I've done this many hours of work out in town, that you can see tangible results immediately and the residents can see it. And then also those inmates, every inmate in a jail has a cost or a bill that they need to pay for their crimes or fines or fees or whatever. For 8 hours of labor, I can remove, or we can reduce $100 off of their fines or fees. Money that they probably can't even pay anyways. Most of them can't or haven't, you've seen that. But now we can actually have them out here working in the county. So I know the jail staff and myself, I'm very excited about this contract, hoping that you approve it. We'll obviously start cleaning the jail first. That's all I have, gentlemen.
Can I go into something on that?
Yes, sir.
This contract was the one we originally turned down, went over and we got with them, and it's been redone 2 or 3 times now. Jones got with them before you.
Yes, sir.
And, we went over something originally on the contract, if you'll remember, what we talked about, they originally wanted $50 a day per diem, which was a no-go because we normally pay $65 anywhere we send them. So we had that added in. Originally, we didn't get to pick who our inmates were gonna be coming out, and they could be released in county. The way this is supposed to work now, if whoever they bring in, if they're supposed to be released, they'll have to go back to Lubbock County to be released. They will not be released in Fisher. Then if there's anybody with medical concern or something like that happen, that if a guard went there, that they would have to immediately replace whatever deputy has to take them or jailer is with them. So it's not a prolonged stay with them, but they do pay $30 an hour on that, I believe.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's what was in there.
And we got a lot of the bugs taken out, so they can't just send us anybody that's got medical problems, cause the original one was gonna cost the county a lot of money.
Yes, sir.
So, with everything that's within the contract, I
The
would
big
make a
thing that I
motion.
see with this contract, gentlemen, is it benefits Fisher County, and that's it. That's how we had the contract
Well,
written. We're not gonna lose money. I think we're gonna significantly benefit from it, just by, having these individuals go do tangible, visible labor around the county that people can see. And,
Well, the next step to it is, it's not just a benefit in the contract now for the county, but it actually gives us a, opportunity to see how the jail will flow with actually being closer to being full capacity.
yes, sir, absolutely.
So I would make a motion to approve this.
I'll second it.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Thank you, gentlemen.
Now you gotta go to work.
Yes, sir.
Right, item number 18, information only, jury pay increase, House Bill 3474, Ms. Pace.
I just want you to know that it just passed in legislature that jury pay will increase. Now, we must pay a minimum of $20 per day for the first day of a person who reports to jury service. Everybody who comes in and reports automatically gets $20. Then after that, whoever is chosen, or comes for afterwards, gets $58 instead of $40 per day served.
Item 19, discuss and approve pay amounts under House Bill 3474, Ms. Marks.
And that one's on me, since we're paying, we've been paying cash, and as they check in, and it's been working real well. One thing I would like to ask is that, on the required minimums that Gina just gave out, the 20 for showing up and the 58 for selected, and then each day subsequent it'd be 58. I'd like to request that we change that 58 to 60, so that we don't have to, we can just hand out 20s, instead of having to get 20s, 10s, 5s, and 1s, and handle all those other little amounts. Also, and Gina didn't state this, just to make y'all aware, the state reimburses the county out of that $14 of that, and the state also reimburses out of the $52 of that, which each quarter I submit to the comptroller's office to get those reimbursements. So with that, I'd like to respectfully request that we set our jury pay amounts at 20 for showing up as required, and 60 for service day 1 and subsequent days.
What's the advantage of paying cash versus a check?
A lot of those checks get lost, sir, and they sit in the uncashed, and a lot of people, it's handier, easier for them to hand them the money, for showing up, pays for their gas, buys them a meal, sometimes maybe a snack. Not much with $10 in the past, but $20 might be a little more helpful. Saves them from having to take a check to the bank, and us to have to cut all those checks.
Pleasure of the court.
I'll make a motion to approve the cash and the $60 a day on
Thank you.
Also,
Have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Thank you.
I'm gonna do something a little different here. Joy, you ready? You out here? We're gonna go to item 23, we're gonna move up and do the budget workshop before we approve anything else, so we know where we stand. So, Joy, you have the floor. Discuss procedure for storm damage to county roads.
Thank you. After the storm hit, I believe that, I had called everyone and let them know, that we needed to get pictures in of what roads were damaged. I know I have pictures from these 3 here. Preston, I don't know if you have any pictures, or, if you had any roads that were damaged from the storm or not.
I do have some, but it's not major damage.
Okay, part of this is so we can report to, the state of Texas, because we have a threshold that has to be met. When I printed this up on Thursday, our threshold for the state is 52 million. currently with the 3 areas, and I think there's like 23 counties or something that were affected, we're sitting at 17.5 million. So we are a long ways away from getting any kind of FEMA help or anything. And in order to bump up that 17.5 million, we need to get everything reported. Right at the moment, I'm waiting on building amounts and all of that we've already had the adjuster come out on. But, I can't file anything until I have amounts, with all of it. In y'all's folders and your packets there that I put on your desk, on the desk for you, I have all the forms. I'm trying to make it as easy for everybody as possible. But I'm gonna have to have this information so we can file everything with the state and get the numbers up. One of the things that I've done, and I know that these are FEMA sheets, and in no way, shape, or form is this saying that FEMA's gonna come in, because we don't know. We're not at the state threshold yet. But the FEMA sheets we're all used to, and, I have put, on the labor sheets, I have put, each one of y'all's road hands' names and what their hourly rates are. All I need on each one of your county roads that you submitted to me has this sheet on it. And if you can put how many hours they put in on working on that specific road, I can figure up the rest of it. I just need to know how many hours. Same thing on the equipment. Under the type of equipment or anything, I also gave you the sheets that we have used for grants that has your equipment IDs on it, that is with FEMA. If you can just put the equipment ID on it, I can go from there. I put the prices and everything that FEMA is allowing at this point. I pulled that off of their website last week, I believe. So I have all that. If you had to use any materials, you've also got the material sheets that we're used to using, for all of that. The packet that looks like this, that is in your thing, this is what is printed off that I have to fill in under the PSTAT for the state and for TDM. And what I need filled in on that, on the second page, the street address, we're not gonna have a street address because it is the county road. I went ahead and filled in the county road. But if by chance, y'all know exactly where it was, you can either come in, we can pinpoint it on Google, I can write down the coordinates of where it is, or if y'all wanna go out and get the coordinates of it and put it on this form, that would be awesome. Whichever you wanna do. I've already checked off a lot of the little spots on here because it's gonna be consistent across the board. And if you go all the way back to any of the areas that are highlighted, on one of the pages in here, it says choose the type of facility. They have the road with no culvert, the road with a culvert, if you had a bridge, or if it's a low water crossing. I need those checked off, that is highlighted. Describe the damage, road's washed out, bridge took off and left on me, you know, whatever it is. And then you've got the necessary equipment, your dozer, whatever that you're gonna have for that. If y'all can fill that in. And then on the next sheet, that one's self-explanatory. Then you've got hazardous debris that I need filled in. And then the cost. It already has on there, is the work complete? Yes, no, in progress. You know, I hope I don't have an unknown, cause y'all should know what's going on with your roads. But, if you can check that one and just go through, the biggest thing under the cost is that I need the hours that you guys worked, what equipment you used, and what type of, if any materials are used. If you can just, I can take that amount off of the sheets, the FEMA sheets, and put that cost in here. Y'all don't have to put the cost, I can figure all of that in. And that's basically what I need off of those, and as soon as y'all get those turned in, especially if your roads are already done, I can start submitting stuff, cause But that's Gordon's stack, Dexter's got one like this, you don't have that many, but you've got a few. Plus, we have all the building stuff that I have got to submit, so, and Tatum is willing to come in and help me with putting all this stuff into the computer and getting it logged in if I need it. I think I'll be okay, but, you know, I'd like to kinda get started on these if possible. But if y'all have any questions or, you know, need us to go through on a map or whatever like that to pinpoint where the damages were and everything, I'll be more than happy to help you with all of that. I just wanna make everybody's job easier, including my own. But that's about all I've got on it. Do y'all have any questions for me on any of this?
The pay rate on like the material's gonna be a lot different this go around. And probably we're gonna have to see about getting material hauled in from somebody because we don't have the manpower. We can't do it.
Well, if y'all have to do that, we need the invoices. Oh, and any invoices that you do get your material and stuff under, if you can please have on there that it is for the storm damage for Becky's office, so they know. Cause this is out of the ordinary stuff. And, that way they have a way of, you know, knowing what we spent, and I don't know if there's questions or whatever on what you've had to spend out of your budget stuff for that, Becky would be able to answer that. As long as it's labeled.
We've been documenting.
Okay. I'm glad you have, that was one of the things, document everything, please. But, anyway, y'all have any other questions? I'm here to help if you need it.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
All right, we got item 20, 21, and 22, we're gonna jump down to 24. We've got some material, we're gonna give you the budget workshop, because we can't approve increases in salary. Do they all have green folder?
Yes, I gave everyone a green folder.
Okay. This should expedite the situation. You have two budgets on there, with the cost of living raise in there. If we use no new revenue, leave everything alone. You got a built-in 5%. Your net leftover is $42,444.
That's with a 5% raise.
Yes, it's built in. On your county review breakdown, you have, your M&O, R&D, total M&O, INS, and here's your rates to the far right. The no new revenue rates is what's built in to the budget that you have in front of you. You can go up if you choose to go up, if the court chooses to go up to the 49,730. You'll have to have a hearing, but, you go above that, with the minimum rate, then you're gonna have an election going higher. And it breaks down the revenue. The one I've got built into the budget is the first one, $4,470,000, and you can go up to $4,720,000. Is that correct, Becky?
Yes, that's correct. And there's also another sheet on the left side, that green folder that breaks down the no new revenue rate, the voter approval rate, and just the middle rate, and then the voter rate with 8%, and then de minimis. But if you go up past the 49, like Jeff said, then you'll have to have a election, or you could have a voter petition.
And I don't know if y'all caught this or not, but you need to say this. Our values last year were, what, 630?
Yes.
Value 630 million, now they're at 949 million, but as you can see by your tax rate, the state's only gonna let you get X amount of money. Your tax rate's going down if the values have gone up.
And I can tell you what the surplus would be on each one of those if you wanna know. If you go up on.
Yeah, if you ask Becky, she's got that broke out for you, she can tell you how much more revenue that would produce.
Cause really the only tax number that changes is the M and O. If you look over to the far left side under county M and O, that's the only one you really have to look at because the road and bridge is locked in and so is the
INS
INS.
is all the same.
Yeah, so it's gonna be that one on the far left.
So we were what, 60-something tax rate last year?
Yes, it's one of them. And I have a breakdown of our tax rate for the last, I don't know how many years behind that page that tells how much we've gone down in several years.
I just wanted everybody aware that just because your values went way, way up, you don't have, it doesn't affect your M and O, at all.
We've got us locked in again.
I mean, it's a shell game, you're only gonna create X amount of M and O no matter what you do. So that's why I made the first book for y'all to go through and do whatever you want. I'll file a proposed budget today, but all I'm saying, everything exactly as last year with the exception of 5% raise, at that rate, leaves $42,444 excess. You can adjust the rate to get more in and out.
If you go up to the second one on your sheet, the total of 47.9, the voter approval rate, we'd have a surplus of 121,648. If you go up to the 48,0114, you get a surplus of 134,000. So it'll jump up a little bit if you went up higher.
And FYI, that budget with the 44, which will probably be the proposed budget, or my proposed budget, that doesn't have anything to do with SB 22 in there. So if you do that, those numbers will change as well. You follow it today, right?
Yes.
What's the change with the SB 22 unit?
Well, that's a $250,000. There's no way until y'all decide what you wanna do to put that into a budget.
Stopping,
Yeah, I mean, you can go ahead and do the raises as
don't have a number.
I projected. The only thing I think you guys need to be careful of is, so you ought to do it, but we'll give a 5% across the board and you can turn around and give a 22% or whatever with Esther got that. I mean, funded till probably February anyway. We can come back and backfill all open positions, but we're still gonna have to stand pat. If y'all wanna do that, it's gonna have to be shown in the budget.
So if you give them the 5% raise, then they're gonna get that other big raise.
That's what I'm saying, but that can be adjustable. I wanna stop right now, I apologize,
I'm good.
Ricky, we're in the budget process, so please, whatever you need to.
Well, whenever y'all get a chance, I'll.
No, I mean, we can do that now, we're in the budget process.
Oh, okay.
I just hate holding you up,
No, it's good.
we're paying you a big salary, sit here and listen.
I have a lot of lawyers texting me about the docket in Nolan County. I do have a budget increase request, two things, and I think it's in y'all's file. My victim services coordinator, as a prosecutor, victims have a rights in the state of Texas. They are protected rights. One is to be notified of any plea hearing, of any dates that court goes on, when an indictment's handed down, or anything that goes on in their case. So I have a victim services coordinator, Sonny Flowers, who covers all three of these counties and handles anything that deals with victims. That's financial crimes, ag assaults, sex assaults, any of those things. She also accompanies that victim in court, talks to them, explains the process, any questions they have. I pay for her cell phone. Sometimes they get reached out in the middle of the night, things like that. When a victim, maybe a defendant calls her and she contacts law enforcement. She also handles victims' compensation. Previously, that spot was funded by a grant by the state of Texas when Mark Edwards was the district attorney in these three counties. The state of Texas pulled that grant when Mark was DA, and at that point in time, Fisher County refused to pay my victim services coordinator. Nolan and Mitchell actually fund her. So since Mark Edwards has been DA, and it's been over 15 years, that my office and Mark's office and Ann's office has provided that service to Fisher County free of charge without her being paid. She still comes over. Last week we were in trial on a victim case. She sat here all week and handled that victim and talked to her and did that. I'm requesting that Fisher County pay her. And that would be, I put 10,000, but I know there's an agreement within the district with the three counties based on the population size. And so that would be based on her salary, based on those three districts, or the counties based on population size. Again, that is a service that has been provided to Fisher County for over 15 years without that victim services being paid. Before it was Peggy Parrott who did it. And honestly, if y'all say no, we still will provide that service. I just don't think it's fair to her to have to work in a county who is not paying her. And I can lose my bar license if victims don't get their services or get those notices. And so it is a big deal to me that my office get those done. And so, again, that's one of my requests. Across the three counties, my office has increased work. I think I put in there about 20%. I just presented a budget to Mitchell County where the indictments are over 50%. It's doubled. With that, cases are being filed in Fisher. We used to only meet once every grand jury term, which is 4 months in Fisher County. We're at least meeting here 2 or 3 times to present cases. The dockets used to be 2 or 3 cases. Now the dockets, the last docket we had for this past trial had 8 or 10 cases on there. Nolan used to be 20 to 30 cases in grand jury. Now it's 60 to 80. Mitchell County used to be 8 to 10. Now it's 20 to 25. With that increase with cases, and it's across the state of Texas with what's going on in our state and across the world, is an increase in discovery, increase in when a case is filed. Every defense attorney wants body cams from every officer on scene, dash cam videos, surveillance videos, and the state of Texas has strict discovery requirements on prosecutors. And so with that, we had 2 office managers, one, Mary Ann Davila, who covered Fisher and Mitchell County, and one in Nolan County, Angelica Coyer. With that, we have court. We have court going on right now, where there's 20 cases on the docket in Nolan County. Most days we're in court every day if we're not in trial. I've been in trial 4 weeks of the last 8 weeks and have another one in 2 weeks. And so those dates, if we're not in trial in the middle of that, we do court. They have to do plea hearings, they have to do all this stuff. And so things are getting dropped in their statement of facts. The jail wants to get it, the person pled, they wanna get them sent to TDCJ so they don't cost the county money. Well, we got court Monday, we send someone to prison, we got court Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the whole day. And so Angelica and Mary Ann aren't able to do that as they're working those court dates and plea papers and things like that. So we have hired an assistant for Angelica in Nolan County, which has helped speed up the statement of facts. We had an individual, a anonymous donor in Sweetwater out of Nolan County, who gave money to law enforcement in Nolan County, and I've used that to pay for that spot the last 2 years, but that money is running low. And so I've requested Nolan County and Mitchell County to fund an assistant Dana spot and to fund someone going into Mitchell County. And so that would be an assistant that handles Nolan, their percentage, and an assistant that handles Mitchell and Fisher County. I don't know what those counties are gonna do. Mitchell County, I do believe, is open to funding a spot for helping Mary Ann because they just saw the chart of the indictments being so high. Nolan County, I don't know. So, but that would be the other request I have, would be to add an assistant spot, which need to hire 2 assistants to help my office managers handle the caseload of what's going on.
So 10,000 plus, what are you thinking?
Well, I don't know the breakdown, and I think 10,000 was a salary I just kind of went off on based on the percentage. I was thinking, I don't know the payback for the health insurance, and because the victim service coordinator's health insurance is paid out of Nolan County, but the counties would reimburse her. Right now, they don't do that. Fisher County does not do that. Mitchell County pays Nolan County her salary reimbursement, tax reimbursement, and health insurance reimbursement, based on the percentage breakdown. So I don't know the extra cost that would put as far as taxes and health insurance payback. But her insurance is covered through Nolan County, it's just a payback portion. I think it's a percentage of that payback.
I've got the breakdown right here of 5%.
And it might be there, I just don't know the breakdown of it.
It's right here, this is the difference.
Okay.
We just need that for budget numbers, the reason I'm asking.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a 5%, less a change.
It had what it actually was, and on to the
Yeah.
right of it, it's got the difference in what it was.
So yeah, it would be a 5% payout of their salary, I think, or in their breakdown for the taxes and health insurance. Nolan pays the big portion of my office because they're the bigger county, and then Mitchell's second, and Fisher pays the least because of the population size being the smallest. Mitchell has requested, and I don't know if y'all want to do this, I don't know how, it's really weird with the district because there's 3 counties and a percentage breakdown. Mitchell has requested possibly having a joint budget meeting with Nolan County as far as my request for the assistance, because they want to have a discussion. I don't know if that's possible or not. It's hard to deal with 4 of y'all. 12 of y'all is a lot, so, no offense. I will mention what the sheriff mentioned about Dan Patrick's bill, and that was Lieutenant Dan Patrick. I think it's Senate Bill 22 is what y'all been talking about. That is going into effect. They say you can't submit a grant application until January of 2024. They will take 30 days to process that. My district, they are providing it for district attorneys. What I'm being told right now is I can only use that for assistant district attorneys and investigators. Now that could change, I don't know. We are also being told that when they passed that bill, they did not understand how much money was actually gonna happen, and they're trying to figure out how to do that, the comptroller is. And so right now, I think the 3 counties, I think they passed it not realizing what was about to happen. But my office will receive money if that is happening per county, per request. And I think it's based on the smaller population size, so actually out of the 3 counties, Fisher County, I think, for my office would receive more than Nolan would, and Mitchell, I think they fall in the same category. I don't know how that looks, I don't know what that looks like. Our organizations are telling us not to bank on that, because the comptroller is freaking out about paying that right now, so. You can imagine the most rural counties, there is more rural counties than bigger counties, and every one of them are gonna submit applications in January. But they can't, I've been told by our organization to plan on using it for assistant district attorney to help our investigators. So, but that was Lieutenant Dan Patrick's bill, it was this big deal to get rural areas funding with the increased crime and the lower payments, things like that. If y'all have questions about that, I can answer those too. I've been up to Austin a couple of times visiting about that, so.
Well, that's why they have, I mean, every county, not just ours, but you gotta be careful with that, because it's not, they didn't realize what the cost was gonna be to impact it, and they don't know how they're gonna pay for it yet.
Yeah, and
They got themselves out of the trap, if they do, can fund it, like the grant funds on guarantee for 2 years.
2 years, yeah. And I do have concerns about that, cause if they do pass it, they've already passed it, it's signed, it's a bill, and they grant it, and people supply, and then for 2 years, it just overwhelms the budget. I think they might pull it back at that point, I don't know. But it is only guaranteed till the next legislative session. But, yeah, I'm being told the comptroller is really freaking out about that budget, so, with that request.
So if they don't renew it in 2 years, what happens?
It gets pulled back, and then we're just sitting there.
It's called an unfunded mandate.
Yeah, and so that's a
Then
big
you're stuck
problem.
with a higher salary and you're paying it.
Yeah, exactly.
You're paying it, or you're forced to pull back, and so my plan was if that money came in, is if I hired an investigator, and honestly, we do need another ADA with that money, because our dockets are just hammering me right now, and I'm having to do this, and my office stuff on top of doing trials, which I love trials, but, it has been hammering me, and so we do need some help in that avenue too. But my plan was to hire someone just based on a 2-year contract, and say I can't guarantee you after 2 years unless they refund. The victim services coordinator, same deal, they had the grant passed, similar situation, they only funded it for a short time frame, and then they pulled it back, and then the counties, it fell to the counties to fund that. Any questions on that?
Is this correct, above the other 25,000 you already requested, or is this all together? Our previous meeting, didn't he say he requested 25,000?
It's not,
This is above that, or?
No, that 25,000, I had an avenue to hire a really experienced ADA that just got released from Taylor County, Joe Wilkes. And he was possibly coming over, and he requested a certain salary amount, which would have helped my office tremendously, but he backed out. And so this is the only request I'm making, is for the victim services and that, so.
I just want to
That is
clarify.
not-
Sorry, I know I saw the email, and that was the original request, because at that time frame, we were looking at hiring him on an increased basis, which would have been amazing for our 3 counties. He did take it to private practice, with another law firm, who paid him more, which we can't pay him, so, which does happen quite frequently. So that request for the ADA spot is not being asked for, just the victim services coordinator and, for 2 assistants.
Did we have that 25,000 figure, didn't you?
no,
No?
nor the 10, so.
Cause you're asking for more than 10, right? Now?
It's 10,000, and then I think I came out to about,
75.
so it is 25,000 total for these 2 spots, that might be what you're getting, that is these
That was the
requests,
original.
these requests. So the 25 is not additional,
So
that
it would
is this request.
be 25, not 35.
No, yeah, sorry. So the 25,000 is these 2 requests combined. Out of the 2, I would, honestly, if there's one that y'all think, yes, victim services coordinator, I think, is a big deal, and she's been providing services for free, so I think that would be a big deal. but we do need all of them.
So Nolan County and Mitchell County has to approve it too.
Yeah, and Mitchell County, I would say, is pretty well thinking they're approving it, they just don't wanna pay if the other counties aren't paying. So that's why they wanted to do a joint request, they didn't mention Fisher, they mentioned Nolan County because in the past, with the issues with the Nolan County Court at Law, there was issues there. And in the past, Nolan County has been the one that's kicked back against that issue, so they wanted to have a joint budget. So it is kind of weird, I'm presenting this to 3 counties, but it's contingent on other counties, commissioners.
So we need to wait and see what Nolan County does, don't we?
Well, that'd be kinda hard to,
No, the victim services coordinator is already paid out of Nolan and Mitchell County.
she's already hired, so you're just
Yes.
asking for sure the 10,000.
Yes, from Fisher
Or-
County, yeah.
on
The
her
additional
salary.
help, or the 2 assistants are being considered by Nolan and Mitchell counties. But the victim service coordinator has already been paid from Nolan and Mitchell for the last 15 years. So that's something that's already been there, it's already been approved. She has her own budget in Nolan County, her own budget, everything. And
I
so-
think we need to go come up with the 10,000 for that, but maybe hold off on the other.
I agree.
And I don't mind, like, and I told Mitchell and Nolan this, if y'all, I don't know how to handle that with the district, but I don't mind presenting it to the joint commissioners meeting too. I know that's weird with the district.
We've done it before.
Yeah.
Multi-county,
I'm
same
sure
thing.
you have. Yeah, so I don't mind doing that for the other 2 spots. I know Mitchell had asked about that, but they were they did tell me they were gonna approve it for Mitchell County. Even if they pay Mitchell County says if they pay just them paying for that assistant, they do not want that assistant helping with anything in Fisher and Nolan County. So if they say they're willing to have that help there for Fisher and Nolan County, if those counties are contributing to that salary, but they don't want that to happen if that is contributing, if they're not contributing, that's what they told me, so.
They don't wanna give us no services for free.
No, that's what they're going to do, they want the help to be Mitchell County, they're the ones putting that bill, so and that's what I was told by their commissioner's court.
So say we did that, is that just gonna contribute more to her salary, or is that
You mean the assistant?
or does that just help pay her salary?
It helps pay her salary, yeah, it helps pay it. And a gift fund, I've been told that possibly when this individual passes, that he'll get more, I don't know, that's not a guarantee I can go off of. And I don't even know who he is, to be honest. But it's been very, very nice of him, he paid a lot of stuff for the police department, the sheriff's office and stuff like that, and he gave some cash that we've been using. But it would help pay her salary, so. I think her salary total comes out to about 31,000 with the 3 counties, percentage wise. That would be Dana's salary, and there'd be 2 of those about that experience, that cost salary wise. Any other questions on that? Well, thank y'all, and may I be excused?
Yes, sir, Mr. Blake.
All right, thank y'all, not no problem at all, it was fun. See y'all. It's always fun.
Birds.
See y'all. Thanks.
So what was the total come up to with the 5% raises? What was that amount again?
They don't have a book.
Yeah, he has a look, but it's just
to the good 42,444, and that's without Ricky's.
Yeah, the 5%'s built in, and you've got a surplus of 42,000 right now, with the 5% raises for everyone.
That's already built in.
Yes.
With the no minimum per-
So what is that, what's Ricky's?
Well, it'd probably be about 12,000. If we do insurance. So we'll go, the budget. Sorry. I just did 12 as the insurance. We already paid the other districts, Heidi bills, we did not pay her, so I just figured 12,000 just to be safe.
So guys, I guess what lays in waiting is what do you wanna do with the tax rate, cause that's built with the no new revenue rate, so to create more money, you gotta go up on tax. And you can see by your total revenue how that's been adjusted. That's as is last year's. Only change is 5%. Salary. So if you want more money somewhere else and you can't juggle it within the budget, then you're gonna have to lift your revenue.
Yeah, if you go up one more on that sheet, you go up to the 47,9,134, you would have a budget surplus of 121,648. You would not have to worry about a voter petition, it would still be no risk of election, you just have to have a public hearing, which that's what we have to do in the other one anyway. So you still could do that without it being a petition.
You go to the 47, 913,
Yeah, if you went to the 47,9,134, you would have a surplus of 121,648.
At, .470794, it was 40-something thousand that's gonna have surplus.
On the very first one,
This is 42,000.
444.
And that's with the raises included in that.
It's
Yes,
built
sir.
in, yes.
Yeah, they're already.
Yeah, they're already built into that budget.
but it don't cover Ricky.
No, but then Ricky, if say it was $12,000, then you'd have 30.
It'd still
Thousand.
cover it. I'm gonna make the motion go with the tax rate of .470794.
No new revenue rate?
Now, within that, we can move around within the budget, because it's set for 5% just across the board.
It's already locked in, so you still have that, it's built in.
To move around within,
What's that?
within that budget,
Yes, there's your access, if no new revenue.
It's figured in.
As I said before, you can see again how your tax rate drops. Everything, your values are up, but you're hoodwinked, you're only gonna create X amount of dollars no matter what you do.
So if we go with that 470794, we're gonna have about 30,000
Yes.
unless you change something.
Exactly.
I plugged in 12, just to be on the safe side with the insurance and stuff.
I'll second that motion.
So it's your travel, the money that we get, the extra $10,000
Alright, we'll get back to that.
every year. It just wasn't separated before, and I think we separated it last year. Yeah. Yeah, you have it built into your paycheck. Unless you don't want it.
Okay, if y'all like the tax rate, we're gonna jump back up to item number 20, which would be to approve the publication for proposed increase of salaries. 5%.
That's to approve the 5%?
They're already in, built into the.
Right, but we gotta approve.
Yeah, we'll just have to put it in the
I'm just trying to stay
paper.
in order so we're not incorrect.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Do I have a second?
I'm gonna second that motion, Gordon May.
Have a motion and a second, all in favor? Unanimous, pass. Okay, so that leaves you the, okay, proposed budget. Item number 21. What that proposed budget is, if y'all agree to the tax rate, that is the budget.
You're not gonna come back and change it after we do that.
Well, I'm just saying that tax rate that we haven't voted on, that y'all seem to agree on, that's what produces that budget. You won't change the tax rate, then that changes everything.
As long as we're good with the others, you'd have to be good with that.
I'm just trying to stay in order so we're not.
But like what we said, you can go in and amend those numbers within that
Yes.
rate.
Absolutely,
Yes.
none of that's,
Yeah, we're just
So,
approving the proposed.
You've already agreed on this, so,
But you've only got $30,000 to change it.
well, you can go back within all of this and figure out where the 5% is not needed.
Oh, yeah. You can cut it
So
out.
that frees up more than the 30,000.
Got you. You're right.
So if you need to adjust, we adjust from there.
correct.
So I make a motion to approve it.
We're on the proposed budget, have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Unanimous. Item number 22, approve proposed tax rates.
I'll make that motion again, go with the tax rate of .470794.
I'll second it. Again.
And then a second, all in favor? And that's all I've got, gentlemen.
I'll make the motion to close.
I'll second it.